What's up YouTube, this is DWS Darius, and right now you're looking at my 125 gallon African cichlid tank. So for those of you who don't know, this is one of the mini tanks in my fish room, and it's been a while since I did a video that focused on this tank. The last time I did a video was months ago, and that's because this tank was struggling. As the title says, I almost killed all the fish in this tank, and that's what I want to talk about today. So for those of you who've seen this tank before, you know that some of the main stars of the tank are missing, including my big Venustus, my electric blue eye leaf, which is actually the fish that I'm using for my YouTube icon, my red top cobalt zebra, some of my favorite Victorians, and just a great deal of fish are missing because they all died, and all the other fish were at the point of death. A lot of them, well, the majority of the cichlids were refusing to eat. They all had cloudy eyes, and it was just terrible, and that lasted for months. So first of all, I thought it was a disease from the cloudy eye, so I started to treat all the fish with Epsom salt. I did that for 2 weeks, and after seeing no results, I started to panic, so I started to use some chemicals like Melifix and stuff like that. I also started to use copper and just tried this because I immediately assumed it was a disease because they were refusing to eat. I thought it was either a disease or a parasite, so I started using Melifix and copper. I used that for about a month and still no results. They still refused to eat. And I thought I was going to lose all these fish, some of my favorite fish, including these frontosa, which take forever to grow. Mine are about 6 inches now, and that took them forever to get to that size, so I definitely didn't want to lose them. So after that, I started thinking about other reasons why they would be acting the way they were acting. So then I realized that right before they started acting like that, I switched filters. So before I was using the Marineland C530, and now I use it Fluval FX6, and I was thinking that maybe when I switched the filters, I didn't add enough of the old filtration, because you know when we swap out filters, it's good to add the old filtration because the old media from the filtration, because you want to add that beneficial bacteria. So I was thinking maybe I didn't add enough, so I went and got a lot of bacteria from the other filters that I have running, and I tossed it in this thing, and still the fish were refusing to eat, and they still were showing problems. But one of the craziest things is that only the cichlids were showing these signs. Only the cichlids were refusing to eat. Only the cichlids had the blurred eyes. I have clown loaches in this tank as well. If I bring you guys a little closer, right now none of them are out. They're all in the cracks and everything, but I have 6 clown loaches. One of them is just a monster, almost 10 inches right now. But the clown loaches were still eating, and you know clown loaches are very sensitive fish, so that was just extremely amazing. I found all the cichlids acting strange, but the clown loaches seemed to not be affected, so that just made everything confusing. And it wasn't until last week I decided to test my water. Now I know that this is just a fundamental, we should all test our waters, but I get lazy, I gotta confess, and I barely test my waters when it comes to my freshwater tanks. But last week I decided to test my water after months of just this tank struggling, after months of losing fish. I decided to test my water, and it turned out that my pH was dramatically low. It was at 6.0. And for those of you who keep African cichlids, you know that that is just crazy low. So once I found out that it was the pH that was the problem, I immediately got some baking soda. I tossed it in there after doing a water change. And that same night, the cichlids lost the cloudiness in their eyes. They started to eat again, and that was my problem. Now I still haven't found out why the pH dropped so low. It wasn't my tap water. It wasn't, I know sometimes they say if you don't have enough aeration in the actual room itself, if you don't like leave a window open, that could cause the pH to drop. But this is the only tank I have it to. I have all these other tanks, and they all had higher pHs, so I still don't know the reason why the pH dropped so low. But now I know the problem of why my fish were dying. I was able to add that baking soda temporarily. After that, I went and got some crushed coral. I tossed that inside the filter. So I have a media bag of crushed coral, and then the leftover pieces. You can see all this white gravel. That's all crushed coral. And now my pH is at 7.6. The fish are eating again, and pretty soon I'm going to start stocking this tank again. I have a few small individuals that I got a discount on, but I'm going to start stocking this tank again, bringing it back to life. That was just a crazy few months. That's why I wasn't showing this tank so often. But yeah, that just goes to show that we have to test our water. I do admit, and it's crazy because I have all these tanks, and yet I still get lazy. I still don't test my water as often as I should. But fish keepers, it's good to test our water at least once a week, you know, because it matters. So YouTube, this has been a look at my African cichlid tank. So currently the tank boss is this Mabuna, my labiotrophius cichlid. And I really don't like the fact that he's the boss because he's a lot more aggressive. I was hoping that this guy will become the boss so that his colors could come in a little bit more, but he's still not really ready to take that position. My Eureka has really colored up a lot compared to when other fish were in the tank that were more aggressive than him. After they all died, he started to color up a lot more. And my Frontosa, they're a lot more bolder compared to before. They still are a lot shy for their size, but they are older than before. But yeah, I will restock this tank, try to bring it back to life. But YouTube, that has been a little look. This right here, my Tropheus dubois, one of the most aggressive fish in this tank. If I add any new fish, he will relentlessly attack them. But this is the oldest fish in my tank. Since this tank was a 55, he's been with me and he's just awesome. But YouTube, this has been a look at the 125 gallon African cichlid tank. This is one of those newbies I picked up, a flameback. I also have right there Narii. Not showing too much colors, but hopefully it's a male. Right there you can't see because the little glare from the reef tank, but that's Mason Reef. He was showing some nice colors when I first bought him, so maybe he's just showing those dull colors because he's still nervous. And then right here I have a Fireline Meloto. So that's just 4 little additions. I will restock this tank once again. But YouTube, that has been a look at the 125. So YouTube, let me know what you all think. Don't forget to test your waters. And that will be all.